I'm ready. I'm just sharing.
Yeah. Okay. Welcome everyone today to this art jam. Already know, I just find here we are again, and it's exciting. I really enjoy it, and I love how we often just allow ideas to drop in to what we're going to talk about. So there is no plan, and I think I just had an idea with part of that's also how to create art. Sometimes you have a vision and you want to get that out. Sometimes it's just like I'm going to come down and allow the vision to appear. And I
Mm-hmm.
think it's also, I'm sort of seeing this with with our topics. We have ideas from last week and then something else comes up.
But you know what? But I love that we do that, that we're not beholden to a certain anything, right?
That's exactly
That
right.
we can just come and talk about whatever is in the moment for us.
That's
I
exactly
love
right.
that.
Me too.
It's
And I love that too, because I think it's also breaking away from how we're meant to be, that norm of goals and striving and all that sort of stuff. That, because that to me is being an artist. Yes, there's an element of that in there. But for me, for being an artist, which I still feel shy to say, um, is about breaking away from that as well. But I'm realizing, I was talking to my partner yesterday because I did some more art. Yes, I'm trying to create structure around actually doing it and getting down there, but not always being structured within it. But sometimes, like he did jewelry, and so he was working with metals and gas and things like that. So some of it you do need to be structured. Like, do you work within the frame? Things like that. You do need to have, and I think that's normal. That's part of
yeah,
life, isn't it?
yeah.
Mm.
But I know a lot of, and this is where I love Facebook and I hate Facebook or social media, right? Because I see all the things they're doing and new series dropping and they seem to be just so busy with their art, like doing it. And so they obviously have structure in how they have that going on in their lives. And I admire that and I love it. And it's not me. And then and then I'm like, oh, I need to be this or this or this or do more or whatever. And part of that is absolutely true. Like, I do need to figure out a rhythm for myself so that I am more consistent with my creations. But I have a different rhythm
That's
from
it.
other people. Nobody's rhythm in their creativity is going to be the same.
Look,
And
yep.
you have to allow for the day-to-day things that come up, the days where you feel like crap, or you're sick or whatever, right?
Yeah.
So it's fascinating that way. And here we are, we're like, what, 2 minutes in, and I've gotten us off the beaten path already.
That's right. That's right. But we will come back, because I agree with you. I was told that, and I've been reading about writing my memoir. So it comes same, because that's also being creative, that I need to create every day. And I've read this for years, even with the artists, you need to sit down and allocate a certain amount a day or write a
Yeah.
certain amount of words. I simply can't do that. It took me a long time to understand that's trauma related. That was from childhood, when I couldn't sit and concentrate, because I was forever aware and things like that. So I find it really hard. So what I'm like you, I've had to learn, I've chosen to learn, make it softer, that I'm like you, I have a different rhythm. So like when I wanted to do this art, it took me a day or two to come down because I'm still not completely familiar with it. But I realized something was percolating. The colors were percolating in the background. I had something
Yes.
there, and then boom, it said, go down now. So I'm noticing my rhythm is not linear. It's unstructured in the doing way of how we're meant to be in society, but it's structured in that it's my way. So like you saying, your way,
Yeah.
you know.
It's interesting, isn't it?
I do find it interesting. I find it fascinating. And I think yeah, it is about finding our own way. So again, this is what we keep talking about. And I think it's also why I'm loving doing abstracts or just doing these neurographics or just things like that, because I don't need structure at this point. I'm allowing it to build. I think coming back to what we were going to talk about is having your sacred space. And what feel about
Yes.
that? I loved seeing on your Facebook page or whatever, wherever it was, you've got 3 in your home.
I know.
How
It's a little
marvelous is that?
ridiculous.
Why? But again, why is that ridiculous? And then, okay, at the moment you are living on your own, so why
Yeah.
not? You know,
Yeah, why not, right? I mean, it's where I live and nobody else has to step over my stuff, just me, and I'm okay with it. Um, part of that is my house, although it's got the space, it's quite small. Like the rooms are small.
yeah,
So when I set up for things, my studio, it's just the light is better in the kitchen, especially when I'm painting oils. And when I'm painting oils, I need windows open as well. Like I need more airflow. So I work in the kitchen when I'm working on oils. And when I'm working on acrylics, I can work upstairs. But today I also decided, I was in between painting this morning because I did do finish some paintings this morning. And so I was working in oils in the kitchen, and then I started watching some cheesy Christmas movies. And it's like, oh, but then I was on Pinterest and I'm looking for ideas for my art kiddos at school. So then I ended up thinking, I'm just going to pull down my acrylics because I'm going to experiment, and I'm going to set them up in the living room so I can still just kind of watch TV. So there I am, studio, in the living room, and in the kitchen.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's okay.
Look, I think it is okay, because something I've talked about for a long time, and it's also become the thing to talk about, is having your sacred space.
Yeah.
Somewhere where you can go to, and it's, in fact, anyone who hasn't got theirs yet, I've got a lovely free, lovely ebook I've created to support you in how to create yours. So if you want that, let me know, just to set it up. You don't go into an email list or anything like that. Because I'm calling this studio downstairs, my partner, we had this built when we moved in for my partner. So it was all, what we have here is red dirt. And we didn't have any of that mini orb or anything here. It was actually like an underground garage that the previous owners hadn't used. And so it's all red earth.
Oh, okay.
So behind here, we've put up, they're old shipping containers where we put all our suitcases and things like that. When I had my skincare range, that was there. And then became this, so a lot of the limestone is rejects that he made into a feature, so you can still see the roots coming through. So this is, again, how do you create your sacred space? He had something specific in mind, and we had all the windows done and all that. And but now I'm using it, so again, got some of his stuff in here. So again, coming back to how do you create it? What does it mean to have a creative studio or space? It's somewhere that ideally, if you can, where you can be yourself. Now, sometimes homes don't do that, like if you're living in an apartment or that. But I love, now when I'm sitting doing my writing, reading, whatever, I have different ones like the garden. But down here, what are things that you love having around you? So putting things like that, what table do you need? So now, because my partner's not using it at the moment, hasn't for a while, for various reasons, he's doing his photography, I've come down. Initially, I was respectful because it was his space. Then after a while, I asked him, because again, it's about being respectful. If you've got someone else you're sharing a house with, do you mind if I make some of it mine? No, I don't. So he's still got all his jewelry stuff there, but I've been able to combine his photography with some of my books, my statues, I've got my crystals here, and things like that, because it's become ours, even though I use it, but I needed to bring my energy into it respectfully,
Right. Yeah.
So what do you have? What would you consider having? Okay, you've got your 3 spaces, but let's say in your main room, what do you have in there that you just love having around you?
Wow. You know what? I don't think my spaces are really, they're set up to be really more functional.
Yeah, that, yes.
I do like having candles going when I'm working.
Yeah.
There's something about that, and music. So I do have a portable speaker that I also I cart around with me to whatever room I'm in. What else? Well, being in the kitchen is kind of handy when you want like a hot chocolate or something.
Do you
Having
know,
the fridge nearby is really good.
good. I love that, because I was going to be more practical, because then you've got water nearby to change your.
Well, yes. Well, that is true, right? Like upstairs, when I work in my studio, I have to use the upstairs bathroom sink.
Yeah.
For washing and stuff, which is probably not so good for my plumbing, but
Oh God, I just find that so funny. You're going hot chocolate and I was being practical. Is that the Capricorn or what? If you believe in that sort of stuff, that's so cute. And you're being the creative. But yeah, and I think like you said as well, what I learned was functionality with creativity is also, like, I thank God his space is big, because I mean I am really spread out, because I like things to spread out. When you're just sitting down to read a book, or you don't need that, you can just sit in a beautiful seat or on the grass. Whereas with art, I agree, you need to function.
yeah.
Because when I first moved down and didn't quite appreciate all that, I was in chaos. It took me half the time to go and find the paints I wanted, or the paintbrush, or I didn't have a rhythm or routine as to where things work. And
yes.
I find that I need that structure around me. So that took me a while.
Well, and I guess that's why I don't think much of my space.
Okay. Yeah.
Because whether I'm working, well, I have my studio, and that is nice because I do have my paint set up, and it's, organized for me. But when I'm painting downstairs, I have baskets that my oils are in, so I don't have to lug them up and down. So I'm kind of used to it being a transient space, more so than anything else, right?
Yeah. But I think that's, again, coming back to being fluid and flexible. And, seeing we talk about healing. When you're healing, you need to feel like, for me, I needed to feel safe. I needed to have everything a certain way. I found that fluidity really difficult and really challenging, because then I'd feel unsafe.
Right.
But so it is finding that way. So I know when I go traveling, when I go somewhere, I have certain things I always have in a certain place, like where I have my keys or my passport or my journal or the crystals that I take, because that's just somehow creates a comfort and a sense of safety and a sense of sacredness. So I noticed that a while ago, a few years ago, and I was trying to think, I've been doing that for years. I walk in, check out the room, and unpack, in a certain way. So it's learning, how can I be fluid in what you're saying? So like now I've got all my pens in a basket too now, that I can just pick up, and if I want to go and do some art in the garden, I can.
Nice.
And I think it's like with anything, you've got to create it to suit you.
Yeah.
Like, and also the surrounds you're in, because sometimes, well, there's times where you are limited. I mean, if my partner was still working in this space, I wouldn't be able to be as easily able to come in, because he likes, we're being creative, he's in the zone, and sometimes what he does is noisy, like when he uses the grinder, or the gas, or things like that. It wouldn't be as easy for me to be down here, and also knowing he's there making noise when I want stillness wouldn't work either. So again, it's finding, you might not have the space. So let's talk about, and anyone who's watching here on YouTube, how do you create your art studio? Or if you don't do art, knitting, or that, also knitting's easy to pick up. Like I used to take it to the coffee shop when I was doing that, because you can do that. So any thoughts on anyone, what you do if you don't have the space to? And also another question I wanted to ask, and Rodney, if you don't have the space, does that stop you from doing the art? Because that can also be one of those distractions, or one of those, I don't have the space, so I'm not going to do it, when actually you do want to do it.
Yep. That can be a big one, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
Not having the space.
That's right. Becomes another excuse or distraction or avoidance. I mean, look, I don't know about you. Oh, you know, you've been doing it for years. I have the space and I can still go, oh, no, not, you know, I can still do all that to avoid coming down. Then once I'm down here, I'm great. And I said to Willem yesterday, it was really funny because at the moment, I'm just doing art that's complete. I said to him, it took me how long to get down here like this, days or what, you know, and then when I was down here, it only took me 5-10 minutes, a bit more 15 minutes to create. But as he said, which is a really good point, it actually was long. It had been percolating, as I said earlier. It had been building what colors I want, what I want to do, what I want to try, and doing what you mentioned in our sacred conversation about finding the joy and the preparation. So I'm learning to bring that into this space, into this art studio space, because it's not only about the physicality and the material things, it's also the energy you bring into it.
Yes. That connecting, right? For me, it's that connecting to what I'm doing.
That's right. That's right. And I think another thing you said as well, it's not only connecting to what you're doing, but allowing what you're doing to connect with you. Like you said, allow it to speak to you as well.
Yeah.
Or like now, I allow the materials to speak to me. So despite all these colors, I'm going, oh, you know, okay, this is the color you want me to use. This is where you want me to put it. I'm really enjoying that. And I'm putting colors together I would never have thought I'd put together. You know, never.
I was talking to my older art students because I'm having them do some sketchbook work, and it was about, so I told them to play with line and color, and I gave them some options, and they have to work in their sketchbook. And that was my goal with them, was to get them to play with colors, like to put colors side by side to see what does go, what doesn't go, right? Because we have those colors that we like to use, are familiar, right?
That's exactly right, that we love. Now I want to ask you something. You've been more the artist. You know, you said the colors that don't go together. Again, why? Why can't they go together? Because you look at nature. So this is what I'm trying to let go of, is why can't I put that color with that color? Who said I can't? You know, you have the wheel charts, how to make colors and all that. But why can't I put that color with that color? Because looking at the photography, particularly of the birds that he takes, some of the colors that together, oh, you can't put those together. We say, you know, with clothes and that. Well, why not? They are. You know?
True. Well, and and I should have probably phrased that better too. Even to my students, I'm like, oh yeah, did I say that? Colors that you don't think would go together.
Yes,
right?
yes, exactly. And some of what
go on.
No, you go on.
Well, just that I then, because I said, you know, the color purple, like a royal purple, you wouldn't necessarily think would go with green, but that royal purple and like a pea soup green actually are beautiful together, but you wouldn't put them together. You just would not think to put them together, right? So
that's right. Well, do you know where I learned that you can put purple and green together, depending what was in Italy when I lived in Europe all those years ago, and they put colors together in their clothing that, as you said, we wouldn't put together. You know, because so yes, it's like why can't you? And I think also, again, it's about pleasing to your eye. What's pleasing for you or to you, not necessarily to others. And that takes a lot of courage to be able to stand in your truth about it. Because it does, even if it does clash, it's okay to clash. And for me, that's being part of, again, the healing is allowing myself to experiment again, explore, have fun, put it together. Sometimes it'll work more than others, but seeing each piece as, that's right. I was reading that book, I think I mentioned a while ago, How to Build Joy Through Art, Holly Ringland. And she was just talking about now turning the failure into learning. And it's so simple. Like, so seeing as a failure each time you are learning. You know, each time I'm learning.
Yep.
You know, so I think
I have to remind myself of that a lot lately.
Yeah.
For a whole bunch of things, right?
Yes. That's
like
exactly
you've said
right.
before, we don't know what we don't know, and
That's right.
then
And
you learn.
exactly, we do learn. And I think, again, as you said, we can take that back into out of art and into the world. It's like learning to have conversations, learning to how to find your voice, learning how to walk out the door again if you haven't been able to for a while. So it's learning all the time. But in this world, as she said, it was so true. We want the result. And I know I've been like this for years. You want the reward and the result now, not the steps to get there, the steps forward, then back. Oh, I made a mistake, come back. That's what stops us.
Yeah.
Is actually stepping out and actually having the courage and bravery, basically, because it is brave. And it's brave
Absolutely
going against the norm. You know, it's brave going against the norm, like your family or community or religion or sexuality, whatever it might be. You know, how do we stand in that truth of ours, which isn't easy?
Nope.
We're a very judgmental society, and I think, as I'm saying that, anyone, again, Rodine, you judgmental, but I think it's also fear-based. We fear what we don't know.
Yes. And well, judgment and fear-based, and I think, and we've probably always been like that as a society as well, right?
Yep.
But there's something nowadays that makes it feel even more acute.
Yeah.
When you look at even well, I was going to say, because we're not always, when we are working through something or we have a wound, we're also not always very good at, we want someone else to own our shit. And so
Yes.
we can be very harsh towards other people and very pointing of the fingers and, you shouldn't, and you did this to me. But it's really that we're raw and we're hurting and we don't know what to do or how to deal with those things. Right? Again, there goes off. My brain is, that's also what happens when you're creating, though. Your brain just pulls in stuff, and
That's
there you
exactly
go.
right. That is coming back to, so it is on topic in a way, because that's what happens when you when you're in a space or in a zone. So in my case, it's the space and the zone. You can allow these things to come forth. And I think also having or going through the depression that I am, and writing posts and seeing how people are not responding, it's really interesting. Still, people don't want to know. They want to know the positives. Yes, people might be reading the post. So I'm just saying what my reality for me is, because it's not positive, it's not fluffy, it's not cutesy. We're not creating the conversation around it. And I think, again, it's fear. We don't know how to handle it. Oh, they're there again. You're there again. You're being negative. So people want to, but I thought you felt better yesterday. Yes, I did yesterday, but today I'm not.
Yeah.
So it's, and that's also life. We go up and down, but we don't allow ourselves to go up and down. Society doesn't know how to hold someone in that space. I think having your own, whether it be space, sacred space, just to sit in, have your cuppa, read, or your space where you go down and do art, well, both are all creating anyhow, because it's creating whatever way. I think it's really vital to our mental health. That you can open up and explore and be and allow the tears to flow if they need to, or smile, or whatever it is, whatever it is, where you don't feel judged. Because I know when I come down here, no one knows I'm down here. Also, because where we live, we really live beautifully protected and private. No one knows when I sit down here that I'm down here. It's wonderful, no judgment, no
Nice.
criticism, and no one knows if I'm having a schnoz, doing some yoga, doing some art, or doing some work. No one knows. So freeing, to get away from that. Look at me, I'm so busy. Yeah, I am busy being me. All my absolute glorious moments, which are not always so glorious at the moment.
Yep.
So is there anything else you'd like to say about the space, about that you're creating this space? What else do you think?
You know what? I don't know. I honestly, when I think of creating space, like art space, I really think, man, I'm so lucky that I do have studio space
Yes.
that actually over the years I've chosen, like I finally chose to make that a studio space for me.
Yep. That's right.
That's cool. And that's a biggie.
That is a biggie. And I think the operative word is choosing. You can choose to create a space. And that's, again, that free ebook on how to create your sacred space. You can even do it on the plane. You just bring the energy in. Like, even if you don't have space, can you do it 5 minutes in the morning before you get out of bed? Or just say to the family, I just need 5 minutes to myself, and I'm going to go into, if you don't have another room, into the bedroom or the garden. So I think it's all about, we do have choices. It's just, how do we become creative again in that space, to say, right, for now. I always remember someone telling me years ago, this is coming back to a business, and a man in a CEO or something, he used to have what do you call it, traffic lights at his door. So red mean absolutely not allowed in, he's on doing something something big. Orange was knock or have an appointment, come in. Green was, I'm now free for anyone to come in and have a chat. And I like that. I mean, it's very, it's like that. It's like, making it very clear, set his boundaries. For this time, no. For this time, yes. For this time, maybe. So I think that's a beautiful thing, that how can we need, I feel that why don't we bring that into our lives,
Wouldn't that be cool?
It would be cool, but doing it in our own way.
Yeah.
So there's some ideas, anyone who's watching, and again, add them in the comments. Love to hear what you do, what you got from this, what resonated. Reach out if you just want to have more of a conversation, and find out, just more how to do this, because it really is beautiful once you've got that space, isn't it? Or that knowing you've got the choices. I love it.
It is to find out, and however that is going to work for you in your space, right? Like you said, I mean, I used to just have the baskets in my kitchen, and they were in my back hall closet. And when I was ready to paint, I pulled stuff out. I didn't need the studio per se, right?
That's right. That's right.
So
that's right. And I think
wherever it is, just do your thing.
Exactly right. And I think the other thing is, I didn't have baskets in the beginning, so I was all over the place. Slowly, I found my own rhythm, like you said, and then you can just pick the baskets up. And I think having a visual, again, we talk about a visual diary, so you can just take this anywhere, and you can pick up. So that's easy to take with your, pens, and off you go. And that's what I finished off from last week. That's my creation today. I'm putting colors together I wouldn't normally do. So again, you could look at it different ways, So I love it. So again, exploring with colors and doing something so I can chat and create at the same time, because I'm not like, oh, wow. See, that's amazing. Yeah. Yeah. That's it. That's it.
There.
Yeah, there it is. Wonderful.
Not at all what I had in my mind or what I was going for, but pretty. We'll
That's
see
exactly
what
right.
With it, I'm like, I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm
And I
Yep.
love, what have you got there? Paintbrush in your hair.
Oh, I know. You know what? Just because it's just so much easier, and then I know where it is,
I love
right?
it. I think
And
that's
I'll
great.
have a few sticking out, except these ones because they're too fat. But yes, I walk
I
around
love,
school. The other day I realized I had tucked one in my hair because I had art in the morning with the kids, and at some point I think I went to the bathroom and I still had a paintbrush sticking out of my hair.
again, wonderful. So creating your space. Lovely
Yeah.
conversation. Thank you. I know we always get something out of it. So anyone else, let us know. Keep us
Yeah.
motivated. Well, not that we need motivation, but keep us encouraged, and topics and all the rest. And have a really fabulous week. And if you remember, do come back and share anything you picked up, anything that you and in fact, what I might do, and I'll remember to do it, is I'll put the link to get my free ebook in the comments, and then it gives you an idea of what you can do.
Great.
And it won't take you onto an email, any address, getting 1,000 emails. It's just something you might like to have. All right. Thank you, everyone. And we look forward to seeing you next week, and have a good week. See you later.
Bye,
Bye.
everybody.
Bye.